Let's go, Meat Boys. It's the Meatlock. You see the text. And, real quick, shout out to our most recent subs. If you got here as a result of the shorts from last week, we're Meat Boy MMA. We're posting the locks, laughs, all the betting analysis, all the memes, anything clip and poignant worthy. We're here to bring it for sure. But shout out to the recent subs, Saya Hakagoglu, J Miz, Sosa Hood Fave, Stealth 323, Zevion, Harley Shoop, Raphael Jr. Cruz, True Crescent, and of course, the homie PJ. But it's a Meatlock. You see the text, and another absolute lock. I can't wait to hear your rationale for this one, Meat, because I know you have the juice. It's Curtis Blaydes, minus 165, taking on Sergei Pavlovich, who at 17-1, at plus 140 of a dog, he's been looking good. You can't discount what Sergei Pavlovich has done recently, and his last two fights, neither of them went longer than a minute, and it was too easy work early and often finishes against tough guys too, Tai Tuivasa and Derek Lewis. And we know that the Derek Lewis fight was in Texas, and when Derek Lewis fights in Texas, bad things do happen. But you got to give Sergey some a lot of credit for the fight that he put on in that one, and then the wins and the finishes. Meanwhile, he got before that were also impressive, right? Abdurakhimov, Maurice Green, the crochet boss, and Marcelo Golm, who's picking up some wins over in Bellator. And his only loss is to Overeem. And I want to get your thoughts on that one because that was back in 2018. But if you remember in 2018, another guy also fought Overeem, and that was Curtis Blaydes. And Curtis Blaydes made easy light work and picked up a performance of the night finish over Overeem right before he did that to Pavlovich. And since Blaydes did that, he's won 7 of 8. The only loss was a YOLO uppercut from Derek Lewis, and that was a fight where I actually thought that Blaydes was looking good early, but he just ran into the stiffest shot from the strongest opponent, and it didn't work out in his favor. And historically, those are the only guys that can stop Blaydes, right? He's got that relentless pace, gnarly wrestling, insane cardio. He takes you down, he keeps you there, and the only way to beat him is if you have that insane lethal power and can sleep him with a YOLO meat bomb like Derek Lewis did and like Francis Ngannou has done twice now. So what are your thoughts on this one, Meat? Who is the absolute Meatlock in this one, and why do you think that they will get it done and how?
Yeah, it's funny. You mentioned juice in the beginning of the video, and that's exactly what I was thinking about. It was 2018 Uberim versus Pavlovich, which is Sergey's only loss. And that same year, or maybe it was the year after, I forget, Curtis Blaydes mauled, Uberim, like not even close. So if you go back and watch that 2018 footage of Uberim versus Sergey, process how that looked, that's exactly how I see this fight going. This is a big levels test for Sergey, and I don't think Sergey's going to get that 2-second lip job like he always tries. I think Curtis Blaydes has truly leveled up, and there's no other kryptonite beyond Francis Ngannou for him. I don't know who's going to beat him. Maybe John Jones, but who knows? Curtis Blaydes, he's amazing at what he does, and he's really been proving that he's got some hands. I mean, he's been absolutely decimating guys with those meat bombs of his. When people look at him as more of a wrestler, and I'd probably say he's the most dominant wrestle heavy fighter in the heavyweight division right now. And in my opinion, he's the scariest guy in the heavyweight division right now. Nobody wants to go versus this guy. And so I think this is going to be a one-sided mauling. This is a big levels test, and it blows my mind seeing everyone thinks that Pavlovich is going to knock out Blaydes. Sergey does not have the best wrestling. He's going to have issues, and as we saw, Curtis Blaydes' hands have really leveled up to where I think this Russian is going to go to Moscow with a little salt on his wounds after this weekend.
Yeah, it wouldn't be the most surprising thing at all because I think you nailed it, right? The deficiencies that we've seen, or at least the lack of recent exposure to the grappling from Pavlovich, is, I think, going to work at a disadvantage for him because he's been fighting a lot of just straight powerhouse strikers and not guys that are threatening to take you down. I mean, Abdurakhimov does have some grappling, but he's pretty bad, to be honest with you, and definitely doesn't compare to the grappling and pace that Blaydes likes to set on guys. And you mentioned Blaydes being like the scariest guy in the division. I think that's so true because he might not be the most scary guy to like come out there and hit you the hardest and sleep you the fastest, but as far as just having a unique skill set that no one else in the division has, Blaydes with that heavy wrestling and insane cardio, coupled with the striking advancements that the most recent version of Blaydes has displayed, like he's definitely a very scary guy for sure. And I'm glad you mentioned the hands because I mean he slept Chris Dawkins. That was easy. It was almost like he spent 5 minutes just like plotting his path forward, and then in the second round he's like, all right, I'm just gonna sleep this guy, and he made light work of him there. And then it's tough to put much stock into the most recent fight against Aspinall because it was over in 20 seconds. Aspinall tore his stuff, but I mean, in the 20 seconds, you were telling me earlier, like Blaydes looked ready, he looked fast, he looked sharp, and he just looked, I don't know, motivated and eager to capitalize on the moment because Blaydes is someone who has been asking for title shots. He's been beating everyone that the UFC hands him, and just seems like this is going to be a nice setup lock opportunity for him to capitalize. But a rare instance meet where Vegas is bullish on one fighter, but Tapology is seeing it completely opposite. You would all surprised with the 62% of Pavlovich backers, and I don't know if you noticed, but it's like 2% beige, all brown. So they think that Pavlovich gets a light work KO. Is that kind of a pipe dream?
I think it's a pipe dream. They think this guy is Francis 2.0, but you got to remember, Francis would get absolutely smashed to Curtis Blaydes if he never beat him before, but something in the mental psyche of Curtis Blaydes, he just could not overcome that fear of, the power in that guy, because the skill is beyond what Francis is. It's just Francis has that X Factor KO power. I don't see this guy being that. I don't see him being anywhere near having that kind of power that Francis, would carry. So the threat is not there, like Francis was. So I just don't see why. But I do love seeing this because that means all the Timmies are going to hopefully start betting on the Russian, and hopefully the tides turn where I can capitalize on this juicy lock.
Yeah, we kind of hope that it continues in that direction and that it does close at maybe a pick 'em because there are a lot of Pavlovich backers, and I don't blame them. I think Sergei Pavlovich is a very tough fighter. He does have some gnarly YOLO power. I saw that in all the UFC, he's number one on the APE index, which is like the distance measured between his height and his arm length. And the dude is just absolutely long and massive for sure. But Blaydes is a big dude as well, and Blaydes is even going to have while he will be at a reach disadvantage, he's the slightly taller guy and will be carrying probably 5 to 7 pounds more than Pavlovich for what it's worth. So in this one, we're looking to get back on track from last week's Meatlock debacle. It was a Meatlockle debacle, and Chris Gutierrez got absolutely smoked in that one. So we're trying to rectify last week's abysmal performance, get ourselves that 73rd Meatlock, and we think that Curtis Blaydes is the one to get it done. And this is going to be one of those quintessential levels tests, maybe even similar to the main event we saw last week, where although Arnold Allen put up a great fight, Max Holloway was just too good, too well-rounded, and in this one we anticipate Blaydes being the Holloway to Pavlovich's Arnold Allen. So for that reason, we're throwing out 330. It's going to net an easy 200. Again, get us continued in the green, restockpile the beef cooler, and get us that 73rd Meatlock. So any last thoughts on this one? Blaydes. Wait, before we wrap it up, do you think Blaydes gets a finish?
Yeah, I do think he gets a finish. I think it does not go the distance. If it goes 5 rounds, that'll blow my mind. I think Blaydes gets it done in the second or third round. I could totally see TKO just like Uberim did it on the ground and pound. Sergey's gassed. He's scared. He's looking for mommy. He's looking for his train back to Russia. But Curtis just gets him a little nice welcome of, welcome to Vegas. Is it in Vegas?
Yes.